Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're here to talk about the Cody Ko allegations, a sentence I never really thought I'd be saying, to be honest. The Cody Ko thing. Now, I wanted to talk briefly before we get into it, and I'll put a timestamp if you want to skip, but I want to talk about how quiet this has been on the internet. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, and if you have, I'm assuming or guessing you might have seen D'Angelo Wallace's video. That's the video that I saw. Prior to that video, I had seen nothing on social media, not on my Twitter, not on anything had I seen anything about Cody Ko. The only thing that had happened was that someone, prior to D'Angelo's video, had DM'd me saying, have you heard about the allegations? And then they sent me a link, I can't remember if it was Reddit or a website like that, right? I don't discount those websites because, I mean, anyone coming forward with allegations can happen on any platform, but I was weirded out because I was like, why is this, why is it just here? Like why isn't this spreading, right? Which is something that D'Angelo talks about in his own video. So I was surprised about that. And that made me a little bit suspicious as well, because if it's not circulating, I always wonder, okay, is it not circulating because it's being hidden, or is it not circulating because the claims don't make sense? So there's that question of, why is this not getting the attention it should be getting? Regardless, I watched D'Angelo's video, which will be linked down below if you haven't seen it. Strongly suggest going there because I will be putting in clips of D'Angelo's video here because there are significant parts of D'Angelo's research that I think should be underlined, so I'll be inserting those. There's also an article, also will be linking that down below. We'll get into it, but I will say that for me, as of right now, the most shocking part of it is the silence of it all. The allegation is, and like I said, I'll get into the article in a second, but the allegation is that Cody Ko and Tana had sex when she was 17. Where they supposedly were, she could not consent. She was 17, he was 25. Allegations being made are serious because that would be statutory rape. So there is this Rolling Stone article that says Tana opens up about alleged underage hookup with YouTuber Cody Ko. The influencer clarified that she doesn't look back on her relationship with a then 25-year-old as a source of quote-unquote trauma. This came out June 24th. I'm gonna skip some parts as usual. So during the live recording of her podcast canceled before a Sacramento audience at the end of May, Mojo faced a hot seat segment answering a barrage of questions as quickly and as honestly as possible. And then later on it says, asked about the smallest dick she's ever had sex with, she replied, oh my god, no one look at me, Cody Ko. As the room erupted in screams, she added, I can say that I was literally 17. In California, where Ko has lived since 2015, the age of consent is 18. While the tour had a policy against phone usage and recording during shows, footage of the conversation still made it to TikTok and other social platforms, where it quickly spread, leading to condemnations of Ko as well as attacks on Mojo's character and credibility. A representative for Ko did not immediately respond to requests for comment on Mojo's allegation, while spokesperson for Mojo said she had no further comment.
Who's the smallest you've ever had sex with?
Oh my god, no one look at me, Cody Ko. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say that.
Just based on this, as far as I've seen when I'm recording this, there has been silence from Cody Ko or any type of management, anything like that. The silence is truly deafening, and I've said this before, I don't necessarily ascribe guilt to silence. The thing is, if I were being accused of something as serious as this, I would want to respond. I wouldn't say immediately, because immediately you're probably way too emotional to respond, but relatively quickly to explain. You don't want to just leave people sitting with the idea that you're a statutory rapist. I'm confused at why nothing has been said. Even if it was like a shitty, typical statement, that would make more sense to me. Would I necessarily like it or respect it? No, because usually the typical statements that a manager writes are so vague you don't even know what they're talking about. But it would make more sense to me than absolute silence. To me, absolute silence says you're hoping people will just not talk about it, which is kind of working, but also not. And the longer you go staying silent, when it will pop back up, it'll look bad because you never defended yourself, apologized, explained yourself, whatever it is you need to do, depending on what actually occurred. Rumors that the pair had slept together when Mojo was underage have circulated for years, but this onstage allusion to an inappropriate relationship led fans of Ko to demand that the comedian, podcaster, and rapper who married YouTuber Kelsey Kreppel last year With the couple becoming parents in January, make a statement acknowledging Mojo's story. Weeks after it first started making the rounds, he has yet to address the topic. And that's still true. He hasn't addressed shit.
And to be clear, this is cowardice, because you demonstrate it whenever there's controversy afoot. Tana's further claims make it sound like you're terrified.
I said something about it online and it was starting to surface. And he texted me like, are we good? And was like, I said, yeah. And like, he was like, my wedding's coming up.
You do have a history of making bad choices when you're terrified of people finding things out.
So Mojo, meanwhile, has recently sought to clarify her feelings about what happened between them almost a decade ago. To be 100% truthful, when I look back at the Cody situation, I definitely am like, why was he doing that? She said in an episode of Canceled last weekend. She recalled an event at which singer and influencer Gabby Hannah pulled Ko aside and told him Mojo was only 17, but the two left and hooked up anyway. I can look at that and be like, why the fuck were you doing that? But I don't associate it or hold it with trauma, Mojo, who turned 26 on Monday, explained, because I'm such a comparative person where I'm like, so many worse things have happened to me, and that's bad, but I genuinely feel that way. And then she says that she now understands that she was taken advantage of, even though she was a fan of Cody Ko at the time. So part of what makes this all super fucked up, in my opinion, and D'Angelo mentions this in his video as well, and Tana talked about this on the Just Trish podcast, is that people were doubting Tana because she's Tana. Now, I will say one thing, and it's never been a secret on this channel. I've been critical of Tana. I've never particularly liked Tana. These two things, however, go completely out the fucking window when we're talking about statutory rape. Like, whether I like you or not is so not even in the realm of important or relevant. Now, these are all allegations, so you can do whatever you want with those allegations, but you can't automatically discount them just because it's Tana. It's fucked up that some people actually acknowledge that it might have happened or they think it did happen, but it suddenly doesn't matter because they don't like the person. And that scares me a little bit because I feel like you have to be very detached from reality to get to a point where you don't like a YouTuber, so it's okay that they get assaulted. The other significant thing about this, as the Rolling Stone article mentions, and D'Angelo mentions it in his video as well, is that Gabby Hannah was part of all of this. Now, again, all your thoughts on Gabby Hannah, where she stands. I know people comment on her mental health all the time. Put that aside for a second, and D'Angelo in his video included this clip.
There was a situation with Gabby Hannah at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
To be clear, 17 is under the age of consent in many states, including Florida, where Playlist Live used to take place. So this means that Tana Mojo is accusing you of statutory rape. Well, did you know that Gabby is actually on record telling the exact same story several years ago?
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage. And I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know. I know she like looks a little older. She's underage. Watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
So based on this clip, it doesn't seem like this just came out of nowhere. It doesn't seem like just last week Tana said, oh, you know, this fucked up thing happened. It's like ages ago, Gabby Hannah brought this up. And now Tana brought it up relatively recently. And now it's surfacing. So like for me, that adds, I wouldn't say necessarily a layer of credibility as much as it's like, if you really wanted to get the clicks, would you sit on something for that long? And to be fair, there are a lot of people on Twitter who are like, Tana's not getting as many views as before, so she had to sit on something for years to save her career or something like that. And if you don't believe Tana, that's your right, but to turn it into a kind of meme or a joke or is just in bad taste. Like no matter what, turning someone's trauma, potential trauma, hypothetical trauma, whatever you want to consider it, no. As of right now, like I said before, the silence is the most deafening part because I'm pretty sure that there are some things behind the scenes that we don't know. Whether Cody Ko and Tana slept together or not, whether you believe that or not, it is bizarre to me that you would be accused of such a significant crime and that you'd not say anything. Now, granted, like I said, there are things we might not know. Maybe his management is saying, don't say anything, let this just blow over. Maybe there are other things being taken into consideration that I don't know of. But the thing is, at this particular point, the more you don't say anything, the more it is damaging, in my opinion at least. And granted, I'm not an expert, But I think that most of us here, because all of us here, between you and me, we're all spectators to this. We don't know. We weren't there behind closed doors. We're all on the outside, right? But I'm pretty sure that most of us on the outside, if we got accused of statutory rape, most of us would probably respond relatively quickly, being like, wait, no. You want to shut something like that down before it spirals like it is now. And like I said before, the more time passes without an acknowledgement, the worse it looks, because it looks like you want it to get buried. And there's some allegations, no matter how ridiculous you think they are, that still need to be addressed because they are heavy no matter what. Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I personally wonder if it's going to get to a point where he feels forced to respond, because at this point, I'm amazed he hasn't yet. But at the same time, I feel like too much time has passed to respond, and it's only going to cause more questions of why didn't you say anything earlier. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.